Hello everybody, welcome to the second episode of How It's Riffed. Today we'll be looking at the magical world of nuts. So sit back and hold on to your nuts. One, go.
Pecans grow on trees that are native to South Central North America.
Which debunks this whole video saying that it's made and not grown.
In fact, pecan is an Algonquin word that means a nut that takes a stone to crack.
Which is what you'd have to smoke in order to think that these nuts were made and not grown.
Today, computerized shelling machines do that job for you.
That's called outsourcing.
Pecans add flavor and crunch to any recipe.
So go ahead and shove these nuts in your food and crunch.
They can also be a satisfying treat on their own.
Kids love nuts.
But manufacturing pecans is an entirely different nut to crack.
Mostly because nuts are grown, not manufactured. Once again, I call bullshit.
At harvest time, the husks that contain the nuts start to open. At this orchard, a machine grabs the tree trunks and shakes the nuts to the ground.
Along with any bird nests, wildlife, and other non-important, non-nut related things. Finally, I found a use for my weight loss shake nut. Leaves, twigs, and other nutrients are added to the pecans.
Once on the ground, a sweeper moves the pecans away from the trees and into a row.
Where a drill sergeant debases them and demands 20 push-ups.
It also blows away some of the lighter debris. A harvester with paddle wheels collects the pecans.
And a harvester without paddle wheels just sort of throws them into the neighbor's yard.
Once on the harvester, the pecans ride chain conveyors as vacuums remove and discard debris. Then, the pecans are transferred to a cleaning plant,
where they're scrubbed by illegal robots.
The pecans are unloaded into a pit.
And then thrown into the same pit where Leonidas has his enemies eat them or drown in them.
And a conveyor takes them inside.
To keep the nuts from shriveling up in the cold.
The pecans funnel into a slotted drum and tumble around.
Just like my cousin in a dryer. What a nut.
The drum sorts the dehusked pecans from those that have retained their husks.
Hey, those pecans aren't fat, they're husky.
In this enclosed machine, spinning wire brushes remove more of the husks. Blowers release the lighter husks into a bin to be disposed of later. After more processing, pictures of the nuts are taken with cameras
and sent to the phones of the Pecans X.
A computer monitors the pictures for any husks still attached to the pecans.
The computer has attachment issues with them.
If any are identified, the computer activates a blower to remove them.
Computers that will blow your nuts? Science.
With the husks removed, harvesters sort out any of the pecans that are cracked or split open.
Hey, get your hands off my nuts.
At this point, the pecans contain about 12% moisture, which is high enough to cause deterioration.
Nobody likes wet nuts.
So harvesters leave the pecans to dry for 24 hours to lower the moisture content to 4%.
Which involves them going into a bathroom blow dryer while yelling, "Just a minute!"
Once drying is complete, the pecans are transferred to the shelling plant,
where such shameless shelling occurs.
Where they are plunged into a chlorine and water bath. This both cleans them and rehydrates them. Without sufficient moisture, the pecans will break into bits during cracking, and the objective is to extract intact halves for retail.
Alright, no more inmates getting out of this prison.
The pecans are rinsed in water at a temperature of 180 degrees Fahrenheit. This step removes chlorine residue, sanitizes the pecans, and raises the moisture content to 7.5%.
Which sort of defeats the purpose of drying them, but hey, we're nuts.
Now it's time to get cracking.
The kid gloves are off.
With a completely automated process.
It's so automated, it looks like nothing is happening.
Inside the sheller, pistons hit each end of a nut simultaneously, cracking it cleanly. The deshelled pecans travel across a vibrating sifter that sorts them by size.
Where the smaller nuts are laughed at and kicked out of the boys' locker room.
Then, the pecans fall in front of an electronic system which releases a blast of air that removes any lingering shell pieces.
Oh sure, show a garbage can full of nuts on YouTube and it's cool, but have a garbage can full of nuts in the back of your car and everyone freaks out.
A second sifting system removes any additional small pecan bits. These pecans will be processed into candy bars and commercial pastries.
Who doesn't like a good tasty Geico ad?
The electronic sorter has removed most of the shells, but not all of them.
Remember what I said, robots did all the work? Gotcha.
Technicians visually scan the pecans and pick out the remaining shells.
Yep, these are nuts. That's a nut. Is this a nut? Yep, that's a nut.
The pecans continue along the conveyor and fall into cardboard boxes at the end of the line.
The only time when nuts being run down a conveyor line isn't considered a felony.
To prepare a toasted pecan snack food, salt and butter are added to the nuts. Then the nuts are cooked and mixed in a roaster.
Where'd my wedding band go? Oh well.
In packaging, technicians pour the pecans into measuring jugs.
Oh look,
then
more
empty
not
them
robots.
into plastic bags.
Then they go home and reflect on the fact that they handled nut sacks all day.
Hot jaws seal the tops of the bags to keep the pecans fresh and extend their shelf life. Ready for retail, consumers won't have any trouble cracking these pecans. They can go straight to snacking.
Unless you're a guy, then it's more like going gaily into snacking. Alright everybody, that was how it's made pecans, which, as I pointed out, it's more grown and not made. But hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.